Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the Swift Voyager 594. The first point you get to on the driver's side of the vehicle when you've arrived at your site, or whether you're at home and you want to charge the vehicle leisure battery, is your hookup point. So lift the flap on the van, lift the collar on the hookup blade, connect the hookup cable to the vehicle first, and then make the cable live by connecting it to the house, outside socket, or the site's hookup point. This will give you mains 230 volt power, so you'll be able to use mains appliances on a 3-pin plug. Without this connected, your 3-pin plugs inside the vehicle will not work. So now inside the gas locker on board this vehicle, this will house two 6-kilogram propane bottles, and it will run off propane, not butane, as butane freezes in the winter, whereas propane you can use all year round. Once you've got the bottle on, this is my test bottle at the moment, so this will come off the vehicle. To connect the cylinder to the regulator, which is on the back wall of the gas locker, you need the pigtail. So it's left to tighten, right to loosen, opposite ways with it being gas, onto the top of the cylinder. And then you would nip it up before turning it on. And then once you've turned it on, you'll not get gas through unless you press this black button. So press the button in, you'll hear the gas when you first press it shoot through this valve here. Then you want to just make sure that this yellow nib hasn't popped out on the regulator. If that has popped out, that's just your crash valve, so you need to press and hold that for 10 seconds. It tells you here on this yellow sticker how to reset your crash valve. But as this isn't staying on, we haven't strapped the bottle on, but once you put the bottle on, the first thing you want to do before you even think about connecting the pigtail is put the collar around the top of the bottle. So this goes in the side of the bottle, goes over the top. The pigtail wouldn't be connected. You would put the pigtail on after this is down, and then you would strap it in so that the bottle can't move and is safe and secure whilst you're travelling. You do have space for an additional bottle in the corner, so you can always have a spare reserve bottle should you run out of gas. Supplied with the vehicle is an external shower. So you get a shower hose with a trigger gun on one end, a square connector which connects onto here. As long as you have the fresh water on board and you have the pump turned on, you'll get a pressurized flow of water to this point. This is your flue for your heating and hot water system. It works off both electric and gas, but on gas you'll see fumes coming out of here, or you'll feel heat. Do just make sure that's never obstructed, so that it's able to breathe and it doesn't ever block with anything. On the back of this model, you do benefit from a garage area, so great place to store your outdoor equipment, your kayak, your barbecue, your chairs, your tables. You've got D-rings in the floor, so you can tie bits and pieces down in the floor. It does come with your, as this customer's had fitted an awning, it's got an awning with a rafter bar, which is a centre support bar. Unless you have asked for an awning, it'll be fitted. If you haven't, it's obviously a dealer fit, the awning. You do have your bits and pieces that it comes with, so duck board, scatter cushions, seat cushions, and your additional lounge cushions in there as well. So you do get a large amount of storage on this size vehicle. Brake light, reversing camera, bars where it's strengthened in the back panel to take a bike rack, which is a Thule bike rack. So you can get one of them fitted to take your bike should you want it. It can be done. And then on this side of the garage, you do have two USBs. It's heated, 12 volt and 230 volt mains hookup. So when you're hooked up, that socket will become live and you'll be able to charge anything you need, like electric bike batteries or any other appliance you may want, or you can just open the door and plug it in for your on and outside. So in the garage area, if you remove the cover, you do have access to your boiler drain. So in the winter, it's very important that you drain your boiler down, because if you don't drain your boiler down, what will happen is the water, it'll be sitting in there, won't be warm, so it'll be susceptible to the cold weather and it will freeze and cause damage to your boiler itself, which isn't covered by Swift's warranty, as frost damage is the consumer's problem and it has to be drained down. Otherwise, if it's frost damage, it does void the warranty. So what you need to do is you need to come into the vehicle. First of all, you would start off outside and you would drain your fresh and your waste. They should be drained from your last sight anyway, especially your waste. You might have a little bit of fresh water on board if you've travelled home with a bit. Drain that off. Come in, no pump or no power, and you want to just lift this little yellow toggle up. And stand it on end, and that will drain off the water in the boiler. And you would leave that in that position during the time you're not using the vehicle in the winter when it's cold and it could freeze. In the summer you don't have to bother because it's not going to drain, it's not going to freeze, so you don't need to drain the vehicle off. But in the winter you do. Then what you would need to do, once you've opened the boiler, is you want to open all the taps within the vehicle. Remove the shower head from the shower hose and lie that down in the shower tray. Then turn the pump on for 10 seconds to drain any last little drips of water in any pipes out of any taps before leaving it for the winter, and that is safe, fully drained down, and no water is left in the vehicle, so nothing can freeze and cause any issues to your plastic pipes, your plastic tanks and your boiler itself. So you won't become a victim of frost damage. When you come to reuse it, you want to shut everything. You want to put the boiler drain in this position here. Just close all your taps, close your fresh and your waste tanks outside the van, fill the vehicle with water. Once you've filled it with water, pump on, cold side of the tap, you'll get a pressurised flow of cold water. Hot side, it'll cough and splutter and make all sorts of noises until it goes through what's called its priming stage, where you're priming it through, you're pushing the air out the tap, and the freshwater tank underneath the van is drawing cold water to the boiler, so you're getting all the air in the boiler, which is 10 litres, until that's full of 10 litres of water. Then you'll get a pressurised flow of water. Once you do one tap, you do them all, then your system is primed for the season. To fill the vehicle with fresh water, you've got your freshwater filling point here. So you've got a habitation key, which is this key here, which opens this cap. Flat end of the hose into there. Carry a hose and some hose fittings, as it's mainly just a brass tap provided by the site. Flat end of there, fill it until it overflows or until you're happy. You've looked on the control panel and noticed the level of water on board. Then you would put your cap back on and lock it so nobody can tamper with your water. If you can't get a hose pipe to the vehicle, what you can do is you can bring a bucket of water or an aqua roll of water. There's a submersible pump power point here. You get a wheel pump, submersible, power into here, one end into there, the other end into the water, would suck it up and put it on into the freshwater tank. However, on a motorhome, you mainly use a hose and pop it in there. To drain off your fresh water, whether you've taken on a source of contaminated water, you're not using the van for a while, or you're draining it down for the winter season, remove the cap, drive over the designated point on your site if you're doing it on the site. If you're not, it doesn't matter, it's clean water. Then you'll be able to grab it with two hands and turn, and this is your freshwater drain off point. Remember, if you're travelling back, leave the tanks open slightly. As this tank is flat, it will rock any loose water out of the tanks as you travel with the camber of the road, and then you'll just want to pop your cap back on when you arrive home. So to operate your cassette, first of all you'll need to use your habitation key to unlock the lock, and then push both buttons in to drop the door. Then you want to grab a hold of the blue lever, lift it up, and this will allow the cassette to come out of the vehicle. You can then either carry it, or it's got a handle so you can wheel it once it's full to your disposal point, which is beside your toilet block. And to empty, you'll want to remove the cap, pop that to one side, Press the blue button at the back when you're pouring it. So start to pour the contents out the cassette, press the blue button in, it allows a bit of air in, stops it glugging, gives it a consistent flow. Pour the contents out. Once you've done so, there's always the tap beside the disposal point, so pop some water in, pop the cap back on, give it a rinse, tip out again, and then you can go in with a cap full, which is 120 ml of liquid, which is either green or blue, depending on what the site prefers you to use for their septic tank waste disposal, into here, and then it can go back into the van, and it's good to go. If you ever go for the blue lever and you can't get the cassette out, it means that the blade on the pedestal of the toilet is open. You've got to have that shut to allow the cassette to come out of the side of the van. Fitted as well as standard in the Voyager range is your external gas point. So if you want to use a Kadak or an external barbecue, instead of carrying a separate bottle, you can just tap into the bottle that's already on board the vehicle. And to do so, supplied with the vehicle, you get a quick release connection. So you want to take the blanket cover off, you want to push the ribbled edge into here, and then you want to get some gas hose and a Jubilee clip to secure the hose onto this part here, and a Jubilee clip to secure the other end on the Kadak or external barbecue. Once you've got it connected, you can then turn the tap on and it will allow the gas from the bottle to this point, remembering to turn the tap off before pushing the collar up and releasing your pipe. You've also got a fresh, or should I say, a wastewater drain. So your wastewater is any water that you've put down a plug hole. If you're on a super pitch, you may be able to get a bit of pipe that connects onto here, and then you can leave it open all the time and you'll not need to drain your tank because it's constantly open. However, if you're on a standard pitch, when you're finished, you stay. You can drive the van over the gridded area on the motorhome service point, open the valve and allow your wastewater out. So this is any water that you've put down a plug hole, so that's dishes water, hand basin water, shower water, cups of tea, anything will go into here. You want to drain this off before you leave your site, because you don't want to be lugging around the extra weight of dirty water, because there's nothing more you can do with it once it's dirty, and you want to ensure it's fully drained off in the winter to avoid the water from freezing. To fill the Ford with fuel, located at the passenger door, you've got your quick and easy filling point, so there's no cap, you just push it in, it's an easy fill, it'll fill with fuel. And then underneath you've got your AdBlue, because it's a Euro 6 compliant engine, it takes AdBlue. It's 22 litres on a Ford, and it does tell you, it'll illuminate on the dash when you've got your last 1,000 mile, your light comes on, a fill up is required, or you can go into the settings and see how much AdBlue is in your tank at any one time. So located on the driver's step, if you pull this cover off in the cab, you've got the location of your tyre inflation kit. So if you get a flat tyre, this will blow your tyre up. You've also got the gel pack. The gel will fill a puncture. However, if you put the gel in and they can fix the tyre, once this gel is in, your tyre does need replacing. So it's best to always try and fill it with air first and limp it to the tyre repair centre without putting this in. Otherwise you will be replacing a tyre where you could get a puncture repair on a tyre cheaper. You've also got your lock and wheel nut and your key code in here, which sits in there, so you might want to pop that into your glove box. But that is where you would find your tyre inflation kit and your lock and wheel nut on a Ford Transit Swift. To operate your Swift 12 volt control panel, to turn the vehicle on, you've got your master switch here, which is your master power switch, which gives 12 volt if you are not hooked up, or if you are hooked up, you'll get the light from the post to the van, which will mean you are receiving mains to 30 volt, so all 3-pin plugs within the vehicle will work, and mains appliances. This one here is your interior lights, and they all are individually switched around the van. Press here, you can view your levels of your vehicle battery, your leisure battery, your fresh water and your wastewater capacity. Making sure that you unhook the vehicle first to get a true reflection of your batteries and always make sure that the leisure battery is selected, which is the battery you want to use when you are using the motorhome. However, if you wanted to charge the vehicle battery over the winter, all you need to do is turn it to the vehicle and it will charge the engine battery. But when using it, it's very important that it's on the leisure battery, as this is the auxiliary battery designed to power the motorhome. Turn your pump on here, so make sure you've got enough water on board. Turn your pump on, and then as soon as you open the taps you'll get a pressurised flow of water. And you do have your tank heaters, so if you're away in the winter and it is going to freeze, pop these on overnight and it'll stop the water from freezing in the tanks below the vehicle. To operate your Truma digital control panel, this here is your on-off button, which you would do a long press on and it'll turn itself completely off, and then press and it'll turn itself on. To enter the menu, as this is on, but you want to get into the menu, you need to press enter. And here you do have a motorhome with a thermometer flashing. This is your interior temperature of the vehicle. So click on here. Off if you are away in the summer and you didn't want any heating, or you can turn it all the way up to 30 degrees, which sets the thermostat. To save the temperature set, press enter and then move along. And this is your water setting. So if you've got water in the boiler, water in the freshwater tanks, you can put your hot water system on. So you've got Eco, which is 40 degrees of heating the 10 litres of water. Hot, which is 60 degrees of heating the 10 litres of water. Or Boost, which is a half an hour setting which turns off the heating and prioritises the water. So for this we'll just say hot, as you want the heating and hot water to run together, whereas on Boost it turns the heating off and prioritises the water. Next you've got your energy source. So you'd use gas if you were wild camping and didn't have any electric on board the vehicle. Mixture 1, which is 750 watts of electric and gas. Mixture 2, which is 1850 watts of electric and gas. You'd use that if you're in the winter, and this will boost the temperature of the vehicle quicker than using just electric for the first 20 minutes or so. EL1, which is 750 watts of electric, and EL2, which is 1850 watts of electric. Use EL2 on most sites throughout the UK. On smaller CL sites and airs you may have to turn it down to EL1. And then at the end you've got your fan, so you can have that on Eco or high, and that is just a 12 volt fan setting. Eco uses a lot less of the leisure battery. High uses the full fan speed, so you can hear it a little bit more, so you might want to turn it down to Eco when sleeping. Time here, you can so you can put a timer on for the heating to come on and off. Time on the main display panel, and then in the settings, if you scroll all the way down to reset, if you ever get a warn triangle that won't disappear, press reset. It'll say preset, press enter again, and then it'll completely turn the panel off, and you'll have to go in and set the temperature, the water, the energy source and the fan speed again. Anything above the line, so you've got your hot water, your heating on there with a gas flame, hot water's on, you're on 2 kilowatts of electric, as you've got 2 electric symbols lit up, and your fan is on Eco, so it tells you without even going in that your heating system is on. So this is your Dometic fridge, which can be controlled through the control panel, which I've already shown you, or you can control it here. So you've got your on off, your mode and your temperature all on here, which is a flush panel. The only time you may want to turn it from auto is when it's gone from travelling on 12 volt with the engine running to gas. It does wait on gas 20 minutes before lighting, and that is because in case you've forgot to isolate the gas cylinder and you've knocked the engine off in a petrol station and you're about to fill it with diesel, the last thing you want is it to then light on gas. So it does wait 20 minutes before doing this function. To change it, you just press mode, and you can override it by manually selecting gas and taking it off automatic. Beauty with this fridge is, if you're cooking, you can get to this side, or if you want a cold refreshment from the back lounge on this model, you can get from this side as well. Like I say, always make sure it's left open when not using, so that air can circulate in and out of the fridge. And all you need to do is, there's a little tab here, you want to pull it out, So depending on which way, there's one on each side. As the door's double hinged, you just pull this out, and then that would go onto there, and it would stop the door from closing. In the kitchen, you'll find a dual fueled hob, so that's 3 gas, 1 electric, that works off mains 230 volt hookup, so that's this one here. And then if you didn't have hookup or you wanted to use the gas, you do have the ability to use the gas there, as long as the bottle is turned on and you have gas in the bottle. Once you've had any of the hob on, whether it's gas or electric, allow it to cool before placing the glass lid down. Underneath is your grill. And you've got your oven at the back as well. If you need any parts for your hob, oven, grill, stickers here with all the parts details on that you need to give to us or other caravan and motorhome dealership to order any parts. Large storage drawer underneath for your pots and pans. Make sure you push the catch in once you've locked the drawer so it doesn't move when you're travelling. And in here you do have the chopping board, which is a sink cover, and the drainer, the slide out cutlery tray, and you have 3 gas isolation valves in the bottom cupboard. So you've got a blue, a white and a green. Each gas tap will do an additional appliance. So what you'll need to do is, if you've got any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe, but these feed each individual appliance. So if you need to turn them off, they're on there now, that is off, they're on. But these are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. The technician will test each gas appliance that is reading to the correct standards by closing all the appliances off at a time and reading one at a time. Now in the centre washroom, to operate your toilet, make sure the pump's on the main 12 volt control panel and press the blue button here at the back, which is your fresh water flush. Put a small amount of water in the bowl of the toilet first, and then before you use it you want to open the blade, which is this grey lever here, so slide it to the right. Use the toilet. After you've finished, you can flush the toilet, and if you've got any pink liquid, unfortunately this motorhome doesn't have a separate cistern tank or header tank for your pink liquid. So what you could do, and what a lot of people do, is they put some pink concentrated liquid into an empty spray bottle with some water, mix it, spray the bowl, flush, and then always close the blade after you've finished using the toilet. This will stop smells and stop spillages, and it will also mean when the cassette indicates it's full, which it will with a red light underneath the little picture of the cassette here, you'll be able to pull it straight out the side of the van without it sticking or being stuck in place, because if it was stuck in place it means the blade isn't closed properly because the mechanism is open on the top of the cassette, which is locked into the bottom of the toilet. So that'll go red once it's full. You've got your shower light and your washroom light, toiletry space underneath the sink. We've also got a heater duct here so it gets nice and warm with the heating on. Towel rail, toilet roll holder, again some more toiletry space. Pressurised flow of water so you can see that your water pump's working. And this is getting up to temperature because the water's starting to get warm there. Magnet on the floor that locks into the door, so you do have to be a bit strong with the door. On this side you do have your shower cubicle. So you want to make sure that the turnbuckle's on it and it's tied back when you are travelling. Like so. So it doesn't cause any damage to the shower screen or the surrounding areas when you're driving. You've got a hanging rail here, which is great for wet towels if you've had a shower, but also great for extra storage space if you're going on a longer trip. You can put hangers on here and use it as a separate wardrobe if you're going to use the site facilities and not use your shower. Or if you've been caught out in the rain, hang your coat on a hanger in here and let it drip dry. Shut the doors, it gets really warm in here, and it'll dry in no time. Be careful with what you clean your shower walls with, your shower tray, your sink, your toilet. But don't use any harsh chemicals, any harsh scourers. Just use soapy water and a microfiber cloth is enough to clean out the plastics. Otherwise there is a chance that you can start to cause discoloration in the plastics, and then it will need repaired, which is called a speed coat, which is sprayed on, and you'll never get the same finish that it comes from the factory with. Top tip with your shower head: when you winterise in the van and you drain it down, so you've drained the fresh, the waste, the boiler, you've turned the pump on for 10 seconds to allow any remaining bits of water out of any pipelines behind any walls and furniture board. Remove the shower head from the hose and lie the hose down in the shower tray and leave all the taps throughout the vehicle open. This will stop any water from sitting in any pipes and causing any damage or freezing when we're experiencing colder temperatures. Again, you've got a small skylight this side with a fly screen. You've got a large one in the centre with a fly screen and a blackout blind, and you just tilt that and slide to open. But again, make sure that this is fully closed before you drive off, so that there's no risk of the wind causing any damage to the plastic lid. So at the back of this model you do have your large island bed with wardrobes either side of the bed area, overhead storage, individual switched reading lights, and in the centre you've got 2 USBs for charging your devices, along with 2 USBs this side and a mains 230-volt socket and your bedroom light switch under there. You've also got a light switch here which are dimmable, so if you press and hold you can dim them down and turn them on and off. In the bedroom you'll also find your TV point, so you do have a 12-volt TV point, an aerial point and a mains 230 socket. The mains 230 socket will only work when the vehicle is physically hooked up, but if you're buying a telly, you're best off buying a 12-volt because it'll work when you're hooked up and when you're not hooked up. So it works both, whereas a mains 230-volt telly will only work when the vehicle is on mains hookup. Wardrobe this side of the bed as well. Do have a bit of storage at the front of the bed as well, so you can store in there. And if you had people at the front, you do have the ability to close the back bedroom off from the rest of the van with the dividers, like so. And you also have a Henny roof light with a fly screen and a blackout blind on, but you can open this up when parked up for ventilation throughout the van, but make sure this and all your windows are physically closed before you travel. The switch located in the kitchen is your table control. So as long as you've got power on, 12 volt, you'll be able to press up and down and adjust the table in the lounge. You do also have a fuse for it here, so if the fuse does blow, it's a 10 amp fuse, so carry some spare fuses with you for all electrical equipment, but you just pick the fuse out and replenish the fuse here for the electrically operated table. Underneath your rear dinette seat, you do have the location where your leisure battery is. So this is your leisure battery, and this big fuse here is your 40 amp main battery fuse, and then this is your Sargent electrical consumer unit. So on the top of here you've got a black button. This is your system shutdown button. So if you are storing the vehicle for any length of time, you can turn this off, and this will stop any power drains happening from your 12 volt leisure battery. However, it does knock off the accent head unit in the cab and reversing camera. So if you get in the van to drive it and think, why is my reversing camera not coming on, it's because you've got the system shutdown button and it's wired through the Sargent electrical unit. All your 12 volt fuses, which you can find the list of fuses just on the top here, so you can find your 12 volt fuse list and your mains protection circuit breakers there. So I would carry some spare fuses with you just in case a fuse does blow. You can replenish the fuse and it should light up red when the fuse is blown. You can get a pack of standard blade fuses off likes of Amazon or eBay between £5 and £10, and it's well worth carrying. Here you do have your main trip tester, so if you think you're not receiving power, the best way to check is by tripping the van. If the van trips, you've got power. If it doesn't trip, unfortunately you're not receiving power and you've got your MCBs. And then you do have two lights here, so you've got your charger. So your charger, when hooked up to mains, your charger will charge the batteries that you've selected on your control panel. So whether that's the vehicle or whether that's the leisure, when using it, it should always be set to the leisure. When you're storing it over the winter on the driveway, you might want to swap it from time to time between the two batteries, so both batteries take a charge, but that needs to be on for that to happen. And then you do have your 230 volt side of your heating and hot water, so just make sure this light is on. If you get any problems with it coming on your Truma control panel about mains connection error, just check that this is turned on. But what you would do is you would just leave them as they are. You can press them in and pull them out, and it takes the light off them, and that's basically like a fuse spur, but you want to push it in and leave it as it is. And this shows the front lounge area made up into the bed. So what you need to do is drop the table, open the table out. There's two rubber stoppers this side that the table sits on, and then above the consumer unit that slides out here to give a bit of extension at the bed. Base cushions in, backrest at the back. The only thing you'll need to do with the backrest is turn them round, because there's an L-shaped cutout on the cushions. It enables it to slide underneath these backboards so that you get the full size double bed at the front of the vehicle. This shows that your hot water system is working as the water is primed and the hot water is red hot coming out of that tap.